again. Happy New Year to you and your family. All right?
And to you and yours, Daniel. Was that to me or to the
The
listeners?
listener.
Okay. You guys, Happy New Year, and to you and your family, listeners. Welcome.
I mean, I hope you and your family have a
Yeah.
good year too,
Yeah, me too.
Henry.
Yours,
Thank
Daniel.
you. Um, what an exciting new year, Henry. It's 2022. We're entering our third year of COVID, and um, fourth for some countries.
It's an exciting milestone for COVID. I hope that COVID is doing well. I think it's got brothers now. Omicron is doing nicely.
I
Um,
like Omicron.
yeah, me too. He's my favorite brother.
He's
Yeah.
fast, but he's kind
Yeah.
of a pussy.
Yeah, he does. He's not gonna do. He doesn't do that much damage, but like he's kind of there.
He
Yeah,
won't go away.
yeah. He ain't really like Delta. Delta's kind of badass because he's a little
Delta's a
sneakier.
fucking asshole, though. Delta's the
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of guy, he, like, goes away and then comes back home for, like, Thanksgiving, fucks everybody up, you know? But
You're right.
Omicron, he's just living in the basement playing
Yeah.
video games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Omicron, that's how he took his name from some video game, obviously.
Well, I look forward to meeting all of the extended COVID family. And I look forward to this year learning more of the Greek alphabet.
I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's neat.
It's
Yeah,
exciting stuff.
it's worth what it's doing to learn parts of the Greek alphabet.
Definitely. Definitely. I couldn't have just gone to the military for this.
No, I wouldn't have wanted to be
No.
honest.
To
Yeah.
learn the Greek alphabet, you must be putting yourself in mortal danger, I think.
I mean, it only makes sense. That's what Achilles did, right?
Yeah, but Achilles, one of our very worst battlers in
Well,
history, I would
I
say.
mean, I
Are
can't
you
argue that.
fucking kidding me? You're going to go there with an advertised weakness?
That's his problem. His
Yeah.
problem was publicity.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine if, like, Mike Tyson, like, showed up for his, like, heavyweight battle with George Foreman,
Right,
And
right.
it was like, of course, everybody knows about the Tyson elbow. You hit that elbow, the guy's down.
And he kind of like advertised it.
It was the main selling point of the fight.
Yeah. So he knew. Yeah. It's not a good. It'd be like Iron Lung Tyson.
That's
Yeah,
a good one.
yeah. Just go for it. Go for his lung, his left lung, and
Yeah,
he's done. He's done.
he's
One
out.
one shot.
Down for the count, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
So Henry, Old Lang Syne.
Old Lang Syne.
What does that mean?
Um,
I've always
I think it.
wondered. I just used
I,
this as an excuse to ask.
I think it means every time a bell wings, an angel gets his wings.
Does it actually? Is it something stupid like that? Oh, okay.
It's
Henry
from
made
It's a
it up.
Wonderful Life. Yeah. Oh.
That's from It's a One. I knew that, but what's Old Lang Syne? Because it
I
is a
don't know.
great song. I think Old Lang Syne is underrated as a holiday song. It should
I
be played around Christmas. Like, we're already excited for New Year's at Christmas.
Yeah, and you only get to hear it on one
One
of
day.
the saddest night of the year. Yeah,
I didn't even hear it this year. I worked New Year's night. I
yeah.
got a fucking Uber at midnight. My Uber driver was the first one to wish me Happy New Year.
Oh God, that's
Yeah,
kind of sad.
I was probably the first one to wish him too.
Let's see what it means. Old Lang Syne. Oh, it seems to be a Scottish Gaelic word.
Yeah. Well, you should know then, Henry. I thought you're Irish.
Oh, I am. I kind of figured it
You
was.
dropped the ball on this one.
Yeah. Meaning. Come on, meaning.
You
Oh
really
my
can't find this
God.
out?
Google. So annoying.
What is
I
it
mean,
trying to give you, lyrics and shit?
exactly. Yeah. Or one half of what it means, Yeah.
Yeah.
Sign means ago.
Sign means a go?
Yeah.
So it
so
must
probably-
be like the wish you well on the year past and the year ahead,
Yeah.
or some
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. The Old Lang Syne.
Times long past.
Times long past. So, Henry, we're ringing in the new year with Auld Lang Syne, and I'll tell you what, we're covering all the classic. Well, I can't compete with lyrics. Get out of here.
No,
So
no. Yeah.
so I gotta say, we're doing all the franchise releases from 2021. Okay, some I watched in 2021. Some I waited. Okay, Henry waited
Yeah.
on all of them, I think.
I did.
All right,
I did.
but we're here to cover them today. Mortal Kombat, the new one. All
That's
right.
right.
There's a reboot of Mortal Kombat. I don't know if you were aware of it, but it was on HBO Max back in March. I think it's still there. You can watch it.
That's where I did.
All right, great. Speaking of HBO Max, we'll talk about HBO Max today and the Warner Brothers family of titles.
All right.
The Matrix Resurrections.
Also on HBO Max.
Yeah, the fourth Matrix movie by Lana Wachowski, and we're covering. I hadn't seen that until yesterday, Henry,
Me neither.
and seems like it's been a divisive film. I wonder
It
if it will divide the franchise.
it really has. I can't really. I'd be interested to see if it divides us. Neither you nor I are. I mean, I went and looked back, and I mean, I remembered anyway. Reloaded and Revolutions were atrocious.
Yeah, I gave
So
Revolutions a 1.
I believe I gave both of them a 1. I'll double check, but
I gave
so
Reloaded a 2 because it's got the freeway chase, baby, and everyone
Yeah.
loves the freeway chase.
Yeah.
But,
So
and I think I only gave the original a 3.
That's all I gave it. I gave it a 3. So for me, if this movie just lived up to at least being as good as the first one, I was fine.
All right.
I mean, so
Well,
we'll
I
see.
I was kind of just looking for nostalgia bait from it. I
Yeah.
wanted to see Keanu and Carrie-Anne Moss together, and that would have made me happy. I went into it kind of very low ceiling of how I feel about it.
Yeah, me too. Oh, I gave Reloaded a 2 as well. So
That
we're-
freeway chase was good, Henry.
So it must have been. So we're exactly the same in our ratings. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
So let's see. We kind of went in it together at the same with the same expectations. And I was like you with these mixed reviews that they're all over the map.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what to
I
think.
saw a 1 and a 5 of people I follow.
Yeah, mine were mainly positive. I think there might have been one bad one.
I saw some bad ones, dude. Like
Yeah.
there were some 1s and 2s, but I saw some very excited
Vicious.
people about this film.
Vicious. Yeah, yeah. Well, people get very excited about these movies. These are like Star Wars for some people. These are absolutely.
I don't know about that.
Oh, there. I think so. I think
That's how people felt in 1999, like it would be that, but I don't think in actuality in the last 20 years that's what those movies became.
No, not in actuality in the last 20 years, but in 1999, I think if people were around your age in 99 or a little older than you, I feel like if they didn't jump on the Phantom Menace Star Wars type deal.
Oh, no, that was totally a thing in 99. Like Matrix is way
them.
cooler than Phantom
Yeah.
Menace. Fuck Phantom Menace. Matrix is the new hot. But
Exactly.
like I just don't think like it aged particularly well. I think like some people that even look at the Matrix, there are people that like think the Matrix is one of the best movies ever made.
I know
All
that.
right? But like I think even those people aren't going to sit there and defend the sequels.
They got to be out there.
I mean, they've got to be out there. But what I'm saying is, like, the expectation when the first Matrix came out was this is going to be a worldwide phenomenon on the level of Star Wars.
You're right.
And those sequels really hurt the legacy.
No, you're right. I only say that because
No one seems that excited about the Matrix Resurrections.
No.
Like, it's not doing particularly well in theaters.
No, I believe as of right now, it's still under budget.
Yeah. But I mean,
That's
it's
because
made for HBO Max.
right. No, I only say that because a couple of years ago, I remember talking to a couple of 20-something kids, and they were telling me how we were discussing Star Wars, and I remember them telling me, a couple of like 20-something dudes, good guys, started telling me how the Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith, and they were saying it with almost, it was very funny, with like due respect to me, because I'm so much older than them. They
Yeah,
were
because
trying
you're
to be,
such an old piece of shit.
yeah, that's me. They were trying to say like how for them those are the Star Wars movies, those are the best Star Wars movies, and due respect to the old Star Wars movies, but those ones are the canon, those are the movies, those are Star Wars movies.
I
So
agree.
I was quite astonished, and but at the same time, that's what they grew up with, so you can't help what you grew up with.
But I
And
think, but
they
I
didn't have your wisdom when you got older, knowing quite quickly that the older movies are superior.
yeah, superior. But I never discount the prequels. I love those films.
You love them for a multitude of reasons, though.
So many though. But I mean, you say a
They
multitude of reasons, but
earnestly love them and don't think they're at all bad or embarrassing in any way, shape, or form,
no,
including
the
the.
first two are bad and embarrassing.
You don't think that.
But I love them.
Yeah. Okay, but you understand what I'm saying.
I do, but I do think that like the expectation. I think after Phantom Menace came out, the media was looking for a replacement for Star Wars, and The Matrix was right there. But
So the rings that came too.
that I was about to bring that up. Lord of the Rings comes 2 years later, and I think that wipes The Matrix off of the pop cultural
Yeah,
radar.
right. I think you're right.
That becomes the worthy successor to Star Wars
Yeah.
in most people's
And in
brains.
superhero terms,
In most people's fevered, stupid brains.
yeah, and in superhero terms, X-Men never got quite that fan base, and Spider-Man was coming out too slowly, I think. So it was
Superheroes never had a shot until MCU.
correct.
Now, I kind of do think MCU has taken over for Star Wars.
I think you're right, and honestly, in my opinion, with what Star Wars has put out, rightly so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree, but it is weird to see something that was created in the 60s and that I grew up with, and now Hollywood is just using a thing that has existed for 50 years as a template and just like doing it how it's been done all these years, and now all of a sudden everyone in the world is caring. I'm like, you could have read these stories. If you're into these characters, like they've been around.
I used to feel that way about Batman. I used to be like so upset
When 89 Batman came out?
Yeah, I used to be like, you fucking people. Even all the way through Batman Forever, which I hated. I remember thinking like, right, Batman, I know. He's such a cool character. You know, he's been around since 1939 if you want to check out some comics, you know.
Yeah.
And you're right about MCU. By the way, it's really going on like 60 years with Marvel.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, it was
61 something.
Yeah.
I know Spidey's 63.
62, yeah.
62.
Yeah.
It's 2022, 60 years.
Fantastic Four 61 and Spider-Man 62. I think
So
that's the
60
beginning of the Marvel universe as we know it, baby. All right, Henry, you want to start with The Matrix since we're talking all about that? We're also going to do the Equalizer TV show at the end.
Oh, I thought we would do that first.
You want to start with the Equalizer TV show?
We can end with it, but I figure we get it out of the way. It's going to be a 5-minute conversation. So, I mean, what do you want to do? You want
I want to start with Matrix. People are hot for The Matrix. That's what people want to hear about.
All right. That's
all right. And you know what? I'm not some kind of an asshole. I'll talk about the thing you want to hear about up front. And if you want to listen to the rest of the show, listen to it. If you don't, shut it off. But I'm not going to ruin your fucking day if you're only here to hear about The Matrix.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point.
That being said, we are 14 minutes into the episode and we haven't talked about anything.
No, we haven't, but I've liked our analysis so far.
I agree, Henry. What an analysis.
Including Old Lang Syne.
Yeah. Thank you. Matrix, the Matrix Resurrections, Henry. It came out here on HBO Max 3 days before Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was in development for a long time. The last we saw The Matrix, it was 2003, and Resurrections and Reloaded had come out back to back. Okay,
Yes.
and then the Wachowskis
Yeah.
decided at the time that they were gonna they're done with the Matrix. We told the Matrix story. If video game developers want the Matrix, they can have it. So they started developing all these video games after that. Like Enter the Matrix was a big deal when it came out. I think they wrote those games. And then the Matrix Online game was supposed to be like some kind of massive thing that still exists, but it doesn't.
Okay.
And I think those video games just didn't take off the way the Wachowskis thought they would, and then the Matrix, it never really fell into obscurity or anything. But
no.
I just think it had fallen off the radar, and now it's franchise mania, Henry.
Yeah.
So Warner Brothers, I think Warner Brothers in particular is disturbed by the current franchise mania. They were not prepared for this.
Yeah.
They weren't ready, and they don't know what to do. They already fucked up with DC.
That's the thing I was going to say. They tried.
Yeah.
Threw their lot in. They threw their lot in with Batman and Superman. I mean, hey.
But they're still trying. They're still trying. You
Yes.
didn't see Space Jam 2: A New Legacy, Henry.
No.
But what that film does is it sets up something called the Serververse.
The Serververse.
Yeah. I'm not even joking. And that's like a Warner Brothers cinematic universe. So, if you watch Space Jam, at the end of the movie, all the characters from the Warner Brothers family of titles are in the stands watching the game.
Oh my God.
I swear to you. So, but it's all such random franchises that it's like, what the fuck? You can't do this. These are all different things. They can't be in the same movie. So you're looking in the background and it's like, oh, there's Neo. And there's watching the basketball game. And then the Harry Potter kids are there. And they have what are the other ones?
Is Batman there? Is Superman?
Oh yeah, a bunch of DC guys are there, yeah. And it's just extras. Because they're just in the background. So it's just extras and special effects representing them.
Would you want Neo on your basketball team? I feel like he could do a wicked slam dunk because he'd do it in slow motion, maybe stop time.
Well, yeah, but he's not as good as LeBron.
No, if LeBron could stop time.
He can't stop COVID, I'll tell you that much. Listen, I looked up list of cameos in Space Jam.
Okay.
So some of the great characters you see are Rick and Ilsa from Casablanca. All right?
Jesus.
I swear to you, the Droogs from A Clockwork Orange are watching the game in Space Jam.
Because kids will get that reference.
Well, it's not a reference. This is the Serververse, okay? This is Warner Brothers trying to tell you we have franchises.
This is what we own.
Yeah. The guys from Mad Max are all there. Some Gremlins, some Goonies, Beetlejuice is watching the game.
Hey, they got a lot of people.
All right?
All right. So
The Iron Giant is there. Don't worry about him.
Yeah, no.
All right? Osmosis Jones is watching the game.
They should have left him, given him a ticket.
They've got many characters from Ready Player One, of course. All the Flintstones.
Boy, that's just them flexing, huh?
Yeah.
This is look at
The Powerpuff Girls. The Mask was watching the game. Some of the Lord of the Rings. Gandalf was in the crowd, Henry.
Naturally.
Austin Powers was watching the game. Tony Soprano, of course.
I got to check this out.
No, you don't. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Well, no, I'd go right to this is at the end?
Yeah, it's the big game at the end. If you watch the big game at the end and just pay attention to the background,
Yeah.
Try to ignore everything that's happening in the foreground because
That
it's
won't be
only
hard.
going to make you dumber.
Yeah.
Neither one of us need that.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
All
All right.
right.
Anyway, so Warner Brothers, how did I get on that?
Just trying to compete with the franchise deal.
Right. So what I'm thinking is that Warner Brothers was trying to develop a Matrix movie. All right.
Sure.
They had announced they had Zach Penn
Yeah.
writing a Matrix movie, and he's like this hack. He's written a bunch of Marvel shit. He's a writing
Yeah.
credit on X-Men too, I think.
Right. Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I mean, I know the name. Yeah. 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 It definitely seemed like, from what I was reading, that this seemed to be Warner Brothers really pushing Wachowski to do this, not the other way around.
But it seems to me that Lana Wachowski, and only one of them is involved.
Yeah.
Lily sat out.
Right. I see that. Yeah.
But Lana, I think, made this movie just because Warner Brothers was gonna make a Matrix movie, and
With or without.
yeah, and she was like, "Well, if they're gonna make one, I at least want to fucking make it."
Yeah. She doesn't have any rights over that. I guess she wouldn't.
Creators don't have rights, Henry.
That's incredible. Even though it's her original idea, it's not
She
like a
sold
Batman
it to Warner
thing.
Brothers.
Oh, well, needed the money. I understand.
What do you mean needed the money? Needed to get the movie made.
Yeah. No, but I mean, in '99, I guess she didn't.
In
Well, she was-
'99, either she was going to take Bound money from New Line and
Right,
make The
right.
Matrix for $5, or she was going to accept $100 million from, Warner Brothers.
And relinquish rights.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand the choice. I get it.
She could have pulled a Lucas and been like, let me get the toy rights.
Yeah.
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 Anyway, so, she didn't want that Zach Penn movie made with apparently Michael B. Jordan starring. And so she decides to make this movie. She brings in David Mitchell and Alexander Heeman, who are two frequent collaborators. David Mitchell is a famous author. He wrote Cloud Atlas, which the Wachowskis adapted into a movie.
I saw it. Yeah.
I just added it to the list.
Yeah, it's worth watching. I think I ended up giving it a 2, but it's definitely kept my interest. It's interminably long, but it's very, very interesting and weird. And I think it was almost there.
Okay. And Heeman, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but he worked on that Sense8 show with them for Netflix. Did you ever watch that?
No, but I know the show.
Yeah. Some people swear by that fucking show.
Yeah, I know.
But I think that's the Wachowskis. Like, everything the Wachowskis make, a certain segment of the audience is going to fucking swear by it.
Yeah, well, everybody's got their own kind of thing like that, right?
Because they take big swings, I think.
Yeah.
And either the swing connects with you or it doesn't.
Right. But I meant almost like with Fincher. I'm kind of like that with Fincher,
Well, yeah, Fincher has his acolytes too, and you're definitely one of them.
Yeah, So, oh, by the way, speaking of Fincher, took me about 5 minutes into the movie, The Matrix, and I'm like, I know this guy. Who the hell do I know this guy from?
What guy?
Smith. It's
Oh,
Holden
Jonathan
from
Groff. Yeah, from Mindhunter, of course. I know. I saw him since Mindhunter.
So have I. But I don't.
But you haven't seen him in his most famous role, Henry.
What's that?
He's the villain in Hamilton.
Oh, and I never will.
He's in the original cast of Hamilton, I think. So I watched Hamilton on Disney Plus, and I'm so glad that I saw it like after Mindhunter, because I would never be able to take this guy seriously.
By the way, who's the main villain in the American history? According to
I guess Aaron Burr. I don't know. All right, Henry. So we had a $190 million budget in store for Lana to play with.
It's a big budget. I was actually surprised. I thought it might be a little bigger.
Bigger? I don't think The Matrix Resurrections is the slam dunk that you think it is.
Slam dunk in terms of expectations of what they
Yeah,
were going to
yeah.
sink
I,
into it?
I don't I don't
I
know.
didn't know. I don't know. Maybe I have a misconception of how big people, how big it is.
I think it's going to be good for HBO Max, but I don't think this movie was ever going to be an out of the box hit the way that the originals were.
So they weren't going to sink in a fucking $400 million budget into a Matrix fourth
Well,
quarter.
I don't think anybody's thinking $400 million budgets to anything, but yeah, I mean, certainly not. We're not breaking the 200 barrier
Yeah,
for the
I was trying
Matrix.
to think of the biggest Marvel budget. Isn't it like 250, something
No,
like
no,
that?
the Endgame and Infinity War were each 300 or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Um. All right. So far, it's made 105 at the at the worldwide box office in theaters. But again, hard to say because it's day and date streaming. It has been nominated for an award, Henry. This is an award we're gonna start tracking. All
Okay.
right. The Critics' Choice Awards are making a play this year to try and be the replacement for the Golden Globes. They are trying to slip right. I see what you're doing, fucking Critics' Choice Awards. I
I
see
mean,
all the fucking for your consideration ads in the
yeah.
trades. Are
I
you
mean,
kidding me?
it,
Everything that was Golden Globes in years past is now Critics' Choice Awards.
is that right?
Yeah.
Now, do these, unlike the Golden Globes, Critics' Choice, do they include like the New York Film Critics Circle and Chicago and all that kind of stuff? Who's in that?
I don't know that the circles are in them, but they are voted for by television and film critics,
American.
American television and film critics, um, and this is an award show that's been going since about 2011. So they have a couple of years of shows that you can look at and say like, hey, we're sane, we're a
Right.
sane group of voters.
Okay.
But I mean, I looked at the list this year. It's not that great. I look at Best Picture. They got Don't Look Up nominated.
Oh, I mean, I didn't see it, but I have no desire. It doesn't look very good.
I want you to watch it. I want you specifically to watch that,
I
Henry.
will hate it.
No, you will hate it. You will hate it.
It looks so fucking
But I want you.
pretty and
But it's you.
precious.
It's not. It's not quite that.
How is it me?
It's just you will have the take that I'm looking for.
Really?
Yeah. You will have no fucking patience for this piece of shit.
Flattery will get you everywhere when you say things like
You don't
that.
even need to watch the whole fucking thing. Just watch some of it.
Yeah, it looks like something I was made to hate, but maybe I will hate it in the right way. Is that what you're saying?
No,
I'll
no,
understand
no.
something about it.
No. It's going to infuriate you. I'm giving you a homework assignment to have a bad night, Henry. But what you're going to then think about the movie will be valuable to me.
Okay,
Yeah.
I might take you up on that.
Okay.
All right.
Critics' Choice Awards have nominated The Matrix Resurrections for Best Visual Effects. Okay?
I thought some of the visual effects were good. I was disappointed in some other ones, but yeah.
Yeah. I did wonder how much of that had to do with watching it on television.
I thought the same thing. Weirdly,
Yeah.
I did. I felt like for some of the stuff that takes place in the I guess real world, some of those ships and stuff, I was a little surprised they didn't look any better than they did in 1999. And in 1999, I thought they looked all right.
Yeah. Well, I think we
Yeah.
were going for that.
Were we? I hope so.
No. I really do. I think we learned a lesson from Star Wars, like where the Phantom Menace looks like way better than the original, and it's like, what? Why? And then in effect, that makes it look worse.
Yeah.
So one thing about the Matrix in general as a franchise is that the Matrix is a 1999 version of now. So like none of the technology had advanced that much.
Right. Right.
Anyway, so anyway, it's nominated against Dune, Nightmare Alley, No Time to Die, and Shang-Chi. So we'll see how it goes. I think the awards are next week.
Nightmare Alley. I've heard. Did you see that?
No, it's a Guillermo del Toro movie.
I'm not really a fan either, as you know.
You think I want to watch more fish fucking?
Um, I don't think I've seen one of his movies in 15 years.
Has he ever made a movie that I've enjoyed? That like I know these made movies people think are good, like Pan's
Yeah, yeah.
Labyrinth, and
Right.
but like
I think that's the last one I saw.
I keep seeing them. I saw
I,
Pacific Rim.
I didn't, and I didn't see Crimson
No,
Peak,
I sat that one out too.
and I don't think I've seen any of them. What's the first movie everyone talks about that's supposed to, is
Devil's
it
Backbone or Kronos?
Chronos?
Yeah,
Right before Pan's Labyrinth, I thought there was
he
one.
made Mimic and
That's the only one I like.
Blade 2.
Yeah, it was not good. Now, Mimic is a good movie. That's fun. I like Mimic.
They're all bad.
Mimic's good. You like it too.
Guillermo del Toro is just some fat guy who likes fucking monsters. Shut the fuck up. Go read to your children.
He likes like you're right. He is one of those guys you just totally picture him in his study, just drawing monsters.
Yeah.
Oh, I came up with another unique idea in my sleep last night. I must wake up and write down my dreams. In this one, he's got the head. He's got the head of a squid, but the spine of a stegosaurus.
Remember the pad at work you drew a creation of Guillermo del Toro?
Yeah. Well, I didn't draw it. I started to draw it. I did draw it, and then Aaron drew over it and made it better.
You dictated to him. You were almost like a police.
I gave him all my ideas.
Yeah, you were describing it like you would describe to an officer, an assailant.
The best bit of it was that the monster had a yo-yo, right? And you knew that it was around. You knew it was about to die when, like, everything would get very silent, and then behind you, you would hear someone walking the dog.
Oh, the move on the yo-yo.
Yeah.
Wow, that is scary.
That's good, right?
I'm surprised James Wan didn't.
I came up with that in 30 seconds, Henry. See what Guillermo del Toro can do.
I'm surprised James Wan didn't use that in an Insidious movie.
More Malignant. It sounds like a Malignant idea.
Yeah, walk the yo-yo.
Yeah.
It'll be in there. He listens to this. It'll be in his next movie.
James Wan.
Wouldn't that be great if the next 10 horror movies that became major were all stupid ideas we just bullshitted on this show?
Well, I mean, that's how Kevin Smith comes up with ideas now, right? What Tusk, that movie just began like they were bullshitting on a podcast. Like, what if a guy was a walrus?
Sounds about right.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about the movie, Henry.
Yeah.
The Matrix Resurrections. All right. I need to prepare myself.
Okay.
Because I was not prepared for this film.
Yeah. I watched this after I watched Mortal Kombat.
I know, you went with a different order than I did.
Yeah, well, I knew Matrix was longer.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to watch it early in the day.
I kind of screwed up my weekend, to be honest. I should have watched these in staggered days, but I waited till yesterday, Monday, and I had to watch everything in one day. So I was like, let me get Equalizer out the way. Then let me do.
I watched that last. You watched it in reverse order.
Yeah, Equalizer was out of the way, then Mortal, and then I just took my time and took a break, and then I was able to watch Matrix, and it was actually the right move, but it took me about 7 hours to get all this done.
All right,
So,
well,
listeners, that's all for you, listeners.
Matrix Resurrections is long on its own at 2.5 hours, okay? Yeah. And I saw that runtime, and I wanted to run away from my television.
I know, I did too, man. I did too, but I'm going to say right now, weirdly, I didn't feel it that much.
I didn't either.
Oh.
I'm going to take you a step further, Henry. I'm going to lay my cards on the table here.
Go ahead. Let's see what you got in the deck.
I loved The Matrix Resurrections, and I think it's the best Matrix movie.
Okay. I didn't love it, but I liked it. And
okay.
I think it's absolutely the equal of the first one.
I think it's one of the best movies of the year.
Okay, I can't go there, but
all right.
I enjoyed the aspect about it I liked, which was missing from any previous Matrix movie. Even though it still had a lot of bullshit psycho babble and philosophical nonsense, pseudo philosophical. I liked the simplicity of its main plot line, which was simply to get two people together who loved each other. That
Yeah.
was surprising to me that that's actually all it really was about. If you really strip it down and take a step back, it was just about reuniting Neo and Trinity, and that's all it was about. It had all this other stuff around it, and in fact, the action sequences, I didn't even really need a lot of those. They weren't that great. It was the parts aside from the
One
action
was awesome.
that I liked. Yeah, yeah. But Jada Pinkett Smith, the only weak link in the movie, really one of the main weak links.
Well,
I would have
she's just
taken
weak
her out.
since she's so old.
She's
You know,
just
she's
weak.
having trouble
Weak.
walking around because she's
She's weak.
elderly. You know.
She's a weak actress, so that's mainly. But I like.
But what do you mean? You surely every Matrix fan is just on their hands and knees waiting for the return of Niobe.
They probably are.
She was the main character in the Enter the Matrix video game, Henry.
I'm sure that they are waiting. I was waiting for a cameo that never happened. I went into this not reading any. I didn't want to know anything about it. I mean, I wasn't.
I didn't either. I didn't know Lawrence Fishburne wasn't in it.
Neither did I. I thought he might pop up. I thought that was a little bit piss poor. I felt bad.
What?
I felt bad for. No, I didn't need him in it. I felt bad for who's the actor who
Yahya Abdul-Mateen II.
I felt bad for him because I felt like he was sort of given the indignity of becoming like a digital composite character that doesn't even get, you know what I mean? Like they used him. He looked like a slinky for a lot of it.
Oh yeah, what an indignity. Hey, young actor, here, go play this iconic role that you grew up on.
But don't really get to play him because you're going to be a silver. You're going to look like the Silver Surfer for most.
Yeah,
of the
but
movie.
that's sort of the. I mean, I get what you're saying. But
That's what I mean. I just mean the screen time is like not really his. It's like,
but I just don't think it's bullshit. I think all that stuff is earned in the script.
okay.
I think there's a hell of a script, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into it. I mean, yeah, I like the movie. I really went into this. I have to say, we said at the beginning of the show, no expectations really for both of us. But after watching Mortal Kombat and Equalizer, I'm not going to comment on my feelings on those yet. But I was a little tired. I was kind of like a little dreading it, and like the length, the runtime was really what was throwing me off.
Yeah.
And I really was very surprised that like at one point I paused it. And I was an hour into it, and I was like, wow. I was like, that's a quick hour. And not much happens in the first hour. And it was like, okay. I was like, I can deal with this. And then Neil Patrick Harris shows up, and I'm like, I like where this movie's going. What's this dude doing in here?
You like Neil Patrick Harris?
I thought it was a weird addition. And I kind of knew where it was going. You know, he's going to be somebody sinister, but I liked seeing Holden show up there. I was like, all right, okay. And Keanu doesn't speak much in the movie. That was interesting.
He's Neo. He never did.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Mr. Anderson.
I kind of had 3 MVPs.
3?
Kind of did.
All right. Well, let's talk about the movie. Here's the setup, okay?
Yeah. You got to do this because I'm not going to say I understood half of this.
No, it's complicated. And honestly, I'm not that interested in the plot. And I didn't get the sense that Lana Wachowski was that interested in the plot either. Yeah. It's a film about feeling, and it's a film that I think has a lot to say about society today. But
it's very meta, and I usually, don't like that stuff. I liked it here.
I wondered about that with you because you do have a tough time with that.
I liked it. I thought it was. I figured like
because the most interesting thing about the Matrix is the Matrix is the idea of like the success. Like this was a huge thing in 1999, and then like it was popular for a couple of years. Everything looked like this, and then it went away. And that's what the film is commenting on.
It's a good idea. I mean, she had to come up with a 4th installment idea, and I think it's why not? Why the fuck not?
You know what, though? It's going to backfire. I really do think so. Because I think this isn't a great film and a much better capper to the Matrix franchise than The Matrix Resurrections was. But I think it is I think this should be the last Matrix movie, but it's enough of a setup for
Oh yeah.
more that they're gonna make more without her.
I think. Oh, without her, you think?
Yeah,
But you do think she's done.
I think she's done.
Is her?
I think I think this was a creative challenge for Lana. You know, she wasn't gonna do it. Like,
Right.
apparently her parents died and one of her friends, and she felt inspired by that. She was like, well, I don't have my parents anymore, but it feels comforting to write about Neo and Trinity. So
I understand that.
yeah, so she
Weirdly.
started writing this film, I think, in a burst of inspiration, and I think it feels like an inspired movie. I just think this is the movie. Like, she's a
Yeah.
filmmaker and she made her film, and but we just live in a world where Warner Brothers, they can't stop. They cannot fucking stop.
Unless it doesn't even break budget, even if they account for
It won't.
HBO and
It's
COVID.
gonna be big on HBO Max. We got HBO Max.
Yeah, but you got to explain to me before. Well, you're going to get into it. You're about to say it, but how do you I sound like a rube on this? But explain it to the listeners too who don't know. How does the movie make money on HBO Max?
It's not that it makes money. They look at HBO Max and they see the amount of streams. Every time someone goes on HBO Max, every time someone subscribes, they're making money. Okay? So every time someone watches that movie, I don't really know how it works, man. But like they
Well, but I only asked two because HBO Max is not like Netflix. You don't pay for it.
Sure you do.
Free. It's free if you already have HBO.
yeah, but you're paying for that.
Okay.
You pay
Okay.
extra for your cable package to get HBO.
We're correct.
Okay, and that gives you HBO Max.
Okay.
If you don't have cable, then you are paying for HBO Max.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
And in the last year, you'll recall, you know, at the beginning of the year, Warner Brothers announced they're going to start releasing their theatrical releases day and date on HBO Max. And Denis Villeneuve and Christopher Nolan
Flip
took
their
out
shit.
like full page ads in the trades and wrote like open letters to all of Hollywood about how Warner Brothers was fucking evil. I think Nolan's had a line like, last night I went to bed working for the greatest movie studio in the world, and today I woke up working for the shittiest streaming service.
That's nice.
Yeah, great. Nice job supporting the company that gives you $250 million to make your boring, shitty fever dreams. You fucking marginally talented fool.
All right, he's not marginally talented, but I agree with everything else. Yeah. Well, hey, I own Tenet. I don't
Yeah.
want to own that. I wish I could delete movies from things I purchased. That's extremely annoying, by the way. I mean that. You know how anal retentive I am about my collection? I don't want that in my collection. Is there a way to get rid of things?
Step on it.
I can't get rid of it.
I would snap it in half and throw it in the dumpster.
No, I own it through purchasing on Amazon to watch it.
Oh, who cares? Then just have
I
it.
don't like it. I don't want it.
Whatever. That's the least of the problems. I just think it's a ridiculously elitist attitude.
I agree.
To think that you know, movies cannot be watched at home. It should be up to the fucking consumer. The consumer is king, you dumb motherfucker. All right?
And
if you want to control how people watch movies, then go to all our fucking houses.
Give me a 50-foot television, Nolan.
Yeah, or buy my ticket to the theaters.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, or you
There you
know, pay for theaters to keep it open and play it for free. Then you know what though? Fuck you. I still won't go.
That would have been a gesture, though. What if he did that?
It would
What
never
if he's
happen.
done that? Like, oh, free. This is my contribution. I will make the first 2 months of this free for everybody. Not going to go that far.
It's never gonna happen. So those assholes announced this but I love that they did this, and sweet victory to us, Henry, because HBO Max was one of the 10 most downloaded apps worldwide in 2021.
Oh, I was one of them.
Okay, it was down. It was They got over 40 million subscribers in 1 year.
Wow.
Okay? Based on this.
Damn.
And so they can look at that and see how many subscribers did we get in the couple weeks after Mortal Kombat came out? How many we get after Matrix came out?
Yeah.
You know, they can look at that, what kind of impact the movie had on their streaming service.
Sure.
Yeah. All right, anyway.
It's okay. It was a rant, but it also helped explain a couple of things.
So,
By the way, I saw Dune on my television. I like Dune very much. I didn't need to see it in the theater.
I
It
didn't
was like
watch it.
never a thought there where I was like, oh, big screen. You know, I didn't. It was
No.
great. I had a good time, and review aside, it's totally watchable on a nice television.
Yeah.
As are most movies.
There was never any universe where I was going to go to a theater and pay full price to watch half an adaptation of a book I read.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't either. I haven't been in the movie in almost 2 years. So
Half.
Yeah.
Get ready for Dune Part 2 next year. Shut the fucking Denis Villeneuve, you French dumbass.
I love him. He's one of my favorite directors.
Idiot. So this movie, great movie. They, Neo's back in the Matrix. You know, he's living in the Matrix as a famous video game developer, Tom Anderson. He's created a video game called The Matrix that was basically the movies. And Trinity's there. She's Tiffany. She's just like a mom. She's got a husband hilariously named Chad.
Very funny.
Yeah,
That
played
was very-
by one of the Chad Stahelski, the director of the John Wick films. So it takes a while to sort of figure out the movie, I think. Like,
Yes.
I started and it's like a Matrix movie. I wasn't that into like the opening. It starts with like you're looking at a version of the opening of the original Matrix, that scene with like Trinity sitting at the desk and then she like jumps off the walls and shit.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
since you can't really do it, they use like a younger actress, but it's supposed to be Trinity, so I was a little confused.
Oh, that's a great point. I didn't even remember. I didn't even think back to that opening. Yeah. That was bizarre, but I guess it makes sense now.
Yeah. In the writing of the scene, I could tell that what it was going for was sort of interesting, but I wasn't yet into the movie. It really wasn't until we were like I felt like I went in with such skepticism. I'm just not a Matrix guy.
No. Me neither. It took me. I'd probably say though I was into it, or at least I was on the level with it about 20 minutes in.
It was really
What?
whenever Neo met Trinity in that coffee shop, I was like, I think I'm starting to get this.
That took you a while then. I
That
think
was pretty early.
Well, I kind of was into it. I feel like whenever he meets Holden from Mindhunter.
No, I liked all that stuff, but I was still like, what is this? What's going on?
Well, I realized the meta thing pretty quickly, and then I think I was deciding in my head if this was going to work for me or not, and I knew what it was doing, and it was she was using a device, but I just went with it, and I was like, it makes sense for all the reasons you stated earlier about it just being such a big movie. I think I was like, you know what, she deserves to be able to use this. It didn't seem like a crutch.
No,
That's what it usually seems like to me, a writing crutch, and it wasn't. It didn't feel like it. It worked. She earned it.
Yeah,
for 20 years.
that opening scene with the first time Keanu meets with Jonathan Groff, I think really is setting up a lot of that stuff. Is trying to like test your comfort with this whole concept. Because in that scene, Jonathan Groff tells Keanu Reeves that Warner Brothers is making a sequel to the Matrix trilogy, and so Keanu has to decide whether he wants to be involved or not. And so it's like, oh wow, okay, we're really meta.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what sold me on it when she goes for broke.
Yeah,
like
it went whole hog.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, all right, so this is it feels like a documentary about the Matrix. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it did almost feel like it's really maybe the reason I liked it so much is that I'm sort of fascinated by Hollywood. Like Hollywood's my favorite subject. And so like this is a Matrix movie that's sort of about the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, it 100% is.
yeah, and that's an interesting subject to me.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
agree.
So a girl shows up to like, you know, show Neo that he's in the real world. Well, first Yahya Abdul Mateen shows up as Morpheus, and that doesn't really work. But then Bugs shows up, and Bugs is
Yes.
played by Jessica Henwick from the Iron Fist TV show. And I have a huge problem with the name Bugs. All right, this was my LVP of the film. Perhaps is the name Bugs.
The name Bugs, because she's one of my ties for MVP in the movie.
I think Jessica Henwick was perfectly fine in the film. Not one of my MVPs, but an asset. Did not hurt the
Okay.
thing. Here's my problem with Bugs. Okay, the dumbest thing about the Matrix has always been its obsession with Alice in Wonderland.
Well, yeah, that and like the whole Greek name, Roman philosophical name thing,
Yes.
yeah, because it makes it very pretentious and silly.
Yeah. So Bugs shows up. She's named after a bunny, Henry. Bugs Bunny. And it's because it's Alice in Wonderland. And then just to hammer the point home, she pulls up her sleeve to show you she has a bunny tattooed on her arm.
That was stupid.
Yeah. Also, her name is Bugs, which is Bugs Bunny, which is a Warner Brothers piece of intellectual property.
Oh boy, didn't even occur to me.
Oh, I've got my eyes. Oh, after that serververse bullshit, my eyes are on you, Warner Brothers. I see what the fuck you're doing, and I don't like it.
Nothing's getting by this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's Bugs because she listens. She's always got a bug in her. That's what she says too.
Sure. Great.
That's what she says.
Yeah. Well, they they go to the real world, and Neo's like, "Oh fuck, god damn it!"
Right.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine being the most famous video game designer in the world, and then someone's like, "Not only are you not, but you were in a war, and now you're back to the war. Go."
And everything you did in those three movies didn't make a difference.
It made a tiny, tiny difference.
Little different. There's some machines on our side.
Well, I found that endlessly fascinating.
I like that.
On
I
many levels.
I like that because it was like you don't see that a lot. You don't ever really see that in the Terminator movies or anything where just like
Well, I wonder why Lily Wachowski, of all creators, came up with this concept. I wonder why she would be interested. I mean, it's
you
amazing.
mean Lana.
Did I say Lily? I'm sorry. Yeah, Lana. So,
Yeah.
Synthians, they're called. And they are machines that are now identifying as human.
Right. Weird. Yeah.
I just think that as a trans writer, this is a concept that would be compelling to her.
Oh, boy, you really dug deep on this. Your brain was moving.
Yeah. And another thing I liked about it was that Jada Pinkett, Niobe, who's an old lady, shows up and presents this as like, see, Neo, you did change things. Like, the world is different, you know? But then all the younger characters are saying, like, it's not that different. We can't just accept the way, like, you know, yes, it's better. Like, but we can't just accept this. We need to change things and make things good.
Okay, so I didn't catch the sentient thing as a parallel thing, but I definitely was on to the political overtones of all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I definitely, that was not veiled very much, but not in your face.
No.
You had to think about it for a minute.
No, and it does, and it never treats Niobe as this like fucking senile boomer loser or something that like we shouldn't be listening to. Like, she's got great ideas too, and she's right on some level. But
Right.
it is time for the young people to really step up and fucking make shit happen.
I feel like Bugs is like the AOC.
Yes! Oh my god, you're totally right.
Maybe Niobe is kind of like
Pelosi.
the Biden or Pelosi character, and you know, and we as an audience are like sort of the
No, Pelosi is Lawrence Fishburne. I think I think that Biden is Lawrence Fishburne, already dead.
Yeah, Niobe is more like Pelosi. Not that she's like because she's a woman, because she actually does get shit done, and she's had results, and she's happy with them to stay the way they are, and wants to take things slow. And the kids are like
Henry's views on Nancy Pelosi do not match mine. I think she's an old evil piece of shit who should just fucking die.
okay.
Okay, great. Henry. What? Oh, Henry's getting upset. You want to defend Nancy?
She's not my favorite person in the world, but all I hear that kind of talk is from Republicans.
Remember when she ripped up the State of the Union speech? That was cool. Hey, speaking of Lawrence Fishburne being dead, statue bomb, because we couldn't get the actor because we couldn't afford him, so get on the statue bomb.
Nice. I thought I read he wasn't asked.
Was not asked. I wondered about that. Because
believe.
Why do you find that hard to believe?
I don't know. Why wouldn't she want him involved in some way for a little cameo at least?
I think that Lana Wachowski is very compelled by the idea of characters being able to change their physical appearance.
Okay.
She's a person that has transitioned, and
right.
Genuinely think that is baked into her writing. Hugo Weaving was asked to return, apparently. Mm-hmm. And they couldn't get the schedule. God, he must have been so depressed. It must have been a Dougray Scott situation for Hugo Weaving. Just miserable. He must want to kill himself. But, we replaced him with Jonathan Groff. He was doing a play or something. And we got... but it apparently was always the idea to have Morpheus be like this other being. But I don't know. I think Jonathan Groff actually added a lot. I think it doesn't.
It's great.
It makes less sense on a story level for him to be different than it did for Morpheus, but it works, and I prefer him as an actor to Hugo Weaving. And all I really needed as an explanation was like that one moment where he says like Neo gave him the strength to be free to be me. He says, and I like that moment.
Yeah, like I said, I think it was about that. Probably since the movie's so long, I could confidently say it was around the 80-minute mark where I basically stopped trying to understand what was going on. And
I didn't care. And I feel like I sort of did understand what was going on for the most part. Like, maybe I didn't know everything. Like, I bet you if I talked to some Matrix loser, like, he would start describing shit that I didn't even pick up on. But, the broad strokes of the plot, I was able to follow.
The broad strokes I could follow, but, I think I just had the same issue I did with the first movie, which was where my mind was just bouncing back and forth between what was real and what wasn't, and how you get hurt and not get hurt, and what you can do and not do. And when they're laying in the chair in the ship, that's their real body, but when it's getting hurt and the mate, it was just like one of those simple things. And I'm just like, oh God, this is like a pinball. I could just, okay.
It was but every time they would introduce something, like, even if I was like, oh, that's stupid, like they would convince me in a way, like they would always get me back every time they lost me for a second somehow. Yeah. I got mad when they introduced Priyanka Chopra Jonas, all right? And, Nick Jonas's beautiful wife.
Yes.
All right. Congratulations to Nick. But but she cannot act a lick. She cannot act a fucking lick. And so,
she's fine.
So when she showed up in this movie, I was like, really? We need another one of these, like, omniscient beings?
Yeah,
but then it turned out she wasn't really that. Like, she was that little girl that he met in the third one, and then like they had all this backstory about her dad and how he helped design the thing, and all that was kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, that was fine. I didn't mind her. I mean, look,
she's my LTP.
Not mine. Acting in these movies, if you're not Carrie-Anne Moss and you're somebody else. I mean, it doesn't really matter if you're stilted and delivered, because you're taught the speech in the films is very stentorian for a lot of it.
I
So
guess
it's
I've
kind of.
seen her in other things, and I know that that's just how she acts.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, I don't know that I have. I may have, but I don't know.
You never
But
watched Quantico on ABC?
I certainly didn't. I watched one network TV show last night and remembered why I don't watch a lot of network television.
Oh, was it The Equalizer? I gotta say, if you never watched network TV and then you watch the pilot of The Equalizer, it might put you off network TV for life.
Yeah, I had no use for that at all. Anyway, but yeah, yeah. Back to the what was your? We're not going to really talk about the plot that much. What was the action sequence that you're referring to that you really liked?
Oh,
You know, see, I thought you might be thrown off and turned off by some of the action, just because I know you're not like an endless fight scene guy.
Well, I don't think there were endless fight scenes. I feel like within the fight scenes, there were always yappity yaps happening.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like they did go on a little bit too long.
No, I never got bored. The one I thought was really baller was the one where, like, so in the Matrix, there are people that are like sleeping, that are sleepwalking through life or whatever. But then there are also like bots, so like Chad, Trinity's husband was a bot, like a non-playable character or something.
Right.
And so like when Agent Smith, I think, started weaponizing all the bots, and they were jumping out of the windows as like suicide bombs.
Oh, I didn't even think of that as a fight scene.
That fucking kicked ass, dude.
It's very cool. I didn't think of that as a fight
and
scene.
And it's so dark. Like, even though they're bots, which, by the way, I thought it would have been even cooler if it was just like those were the sleeping people whose minds like they're trying to free, and he's like weaponizing them as suicide bombs. That would be kick ass. But like I understand you can't really do that. So, but even with the bots, it's dark as hell.
No, it was very dark, and that was excellent. I agree with you. As soon as that started happening, that was kind of one of those moments when you're watching a movie, you're like, oh shit, I'm watching now.
Yeah.
And I just didn't think of that as a fight sequence. I thought of it more as like an escape thing, because they're on the bike the whole time. And I was just like, I was actually so taken with that visual of the bodies jumping out of the buildings that.
And I love how it's introduced, by the way, in that bedroom scene. And you see the guy wake up and just jump out the window. And then you see everybody's doing it. Fuck
and
yeah.
His wife's reaction.
What are you doing? Yeah, because she's probably a real person. Like, she doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was very cool. Yeah, that was a very cool idea. I can't say as I've seen anything quite like that in any movie. Yeah.
No, it kicked ass, man. It's a little bit like that Fast and the Furious 8 thing where they're throwing cars off the roofs, but way cooler. Because it's humans. All right. Let's talk about Neil Patrick Headroom at the end. He shows up as sort of we had the architect, I guess, in the original trilogy.
Okay.
And
yeah.
now
the analyst.
The analyst, yeah. He's Keanu's therapist at first, then it's revealed like, oh, he knows it all.
He is an MD, so it was easy for me to buy. We know he's an MD.
Yeah. Doogie
Howser, MD.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think he was great. Like,
I thought he was good too. I also just liked the weird. I think it was a weird bit of casting, and I think it worked.
After How I Met Your Mother, I worried that he was going to be everywhere.
Yeah,
because he was such the breakout of that show, and I really thought that he was just going to like explode, but he kind of never did. He's laid low since How I Met Your Mother ended. He's really only done Gone Girl and like a couple other things.
And he's so good in Gone Girl.
Yeah,
actually the reason he's good in this.
I think he picks his spots. He's smart about his roles.
I remember when I saw him in Gone Girl, I was like, oh, Fincher, interesting choice.
Yeah.
I like this. And he's great in that movie. So, yeah.
Is he as good as Tyler Perry in that movie?
Probably better.
Wow. High praise. All right. What else you want to talk about? That's the movie.
Just a love story. I like how at the end when, this whole thing about, I like he has kind of fanboys and fangirls, Neo does.
Yeah.
and how at the end there's can you fly type thing, and that's just kind of funny.
Oh my God, I really thought he was going to.
Yeah.
They faked me out.
Yeah. And I kind of thought that was funny in another way because everybody, when you watch a movie, throughout since Superman, 1978, everybody loves seeing fucking people fly, right? It's
Yeah.
like a big deal. And so I think there's I could be totally wrong here, but this might be a little speculation that Lana Wachowski knows that too. And so she would think in this world that one of the coolest things these fanboys of Neo know about him is that he can fly. And so they ask him more than once in the movie, like, do you know how to fly? Can you still do that thing? And he takes the stance, kind of like the Man of Steel stance.
Yeah.
Putting his foot in the ground, his fist in the
Well,
ground.
it's the very end of The Matrix. He
Right.
flies, and that's how he starts.
Right. And then, but he kind of can't do it, and it ends up being Trinity, who can actually fly, which is cool. And so it ends up sort of being her. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, please correct me because I didn't follow everything here. She's kind of at the end of the movie. She's basically the one the movie kind of hinges on.
Well, I think both of them
together.
Yeah, both of them together. But the idea is that Neo says Trinity risked her life to wake me up once, and she believed in me. She had no idea that I was the one. She trusted that.
Yeah.
And it's my turn to believe in her. And
that's right.
And that I think was powerful. Genuinely. I thought the scene with them, like when Agent Smith sort of lets Neo have like a minute to try to convince her to be to join his cause.
Yeah.
I thought that scene was really moving because you could see she really wanted to, and then Agent Smith sent in her family with some bullshit like the daughter's in the hospital, and that's so interesting. And she's been a mom this whole time. Think about that. They've manipulated her whole life. She has, teenage children. She's had the experience of being a mom for 15 years, and Neo is asking her to leave that behind. That's bullshit. Join my weird thing. And it's hard for her. And I love that moment where she punches Neil Patrick Harris near the end and she says, that one is for using kids.
Children.
Yeah, for using children.
Now, I have a question about that. So the only thing that confused me about that was I thought that the one who was kind of manipulating that sequence was the analyst.
That's what I meant. I meant the analyst.
Oh, okay. Because then I liked that it's followed. I like this very much. That for 10 seconds, you get an alliance between Smith and...
It's a very brief Agent Smith face turn.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's well, in a way, you also awakened me.
Yeah.
Which is a big thing to do in a movie like The Matrix, where you have this bad guy that's pretty iconic, and to make him kind of have a realization, and to even come up with that on your own, Wachowski, that, make him also, it stands to reason logically, actually, right? In the weird logic of The Matrix, that he would also be one of the people who would be freed. So it would make sense he's happy with
And I think Lana Wachowski sees the ultimate personal victory as becoming who you truly are.
Yeah. And so Smith briefly aligns with him, and then I guess basically doesn't, but it doesn't. I guess it seems like his thing isn't as much about crushing Neo as it's about making the Matrix his own thing at the end. Right?
Yeah.
Which may or may not happen in a sequel, if we get it.
Yeah. I read the flying thing differently, by the way. I see that as I think that's the one part of the original trilogy that's universally accepted doesn't hold up. The flying looks like shit. And so I think that she put the flying tease in, and then Keanu saying, nah, we're not going to do that.
Oh, well, I mean, you could be right. It did. I remember the moment in that movie when he flies is a shitty moment because it's just stupid. It does.
Well, it's the last shot of the movie.
It's too over the top, and it's just but I didn't read it that way. But you could easily be right.
Yeah.
I was maybe reading a little too much into her possible nostalgia of fanboys for flying.
Well, you're welcome to read into that. You're asked to because of all the meta shit. But yeah, so the first movie ends with Neo flying as the One, and Rage Against the Machine's song "Wake Up" from their first record plays on this. And in this movie, it's the two of them sort of intertwined in the sky as a female punk rock band covers that song.
And I loved, and it was very surprised it took 4 movies for her to use this song, but the White Rabbit sequence was superb.
Yeah, I know, and I am so not. My instinct is to say, "Oh, White Rabbit, god damn it!" But
that's
like,
everybody's instinct. But when it's used well, it's only been used well in a movie once, in my opinion.
When?
The Game.
Oh yeah.
And I think it works very well in this.
Yeah, I think it's cool in this. I didn't have a problem with that.
And I will mention, did you know who co-wrote the music? Because there were 2 composers, Tom Tykwer, the director of Run Lola Run and all these other
and the
things.
co-director of Cloud Atlas.
yeah. So
they're buds, yeah.
But I thought that was wild, and he's a cool. I actually dug the score to this movie. I was like, this is cool.
Well, they had a different guy in the original Matrix, and they've worked with the same composer on everything since Cloud Atlas, like Sense8 and all the things they've done in the last decade. And so they pulled in their new composer for this one, and he's better, definitely.
Well, it's Tom Tykwer. He knows what he's doing. By the way, Christina Ricci popped up for a second.
I was so excited. I know. Listen, I popped for Christina Ricci, baby.
I thought she'd have a bigger role, but
I wanted her to.
It was funnier, I guess, just to throw her in there for a second, because it took me a few seconds. I was like, no.
That's not the best cameo in the movie. The best cameo in the movie is my MVP.
Who's that?
All right? And in this case, the M in MVP stands for Merovingian.
Okay.
All right. So the fucking Merovingian popped up halfway through this movie.
This
is a character. Yeah, the French guy. I have been ripping on this character for years. Like, that's my go-to. Anytime anyone brings up Matrix Reloaded or Matrix Revolutions, I'm like, oh yeah, you like those movies? Who's your favorite character? The Merovingian?
I didn't even remember him.
Yeah. So
at all.
Me, as someone who fucking hates this character, rips on him to the high heavens, they have the balls to bring this character, of all characters, we're not bringing back Lawrence Fishburne, but we're bringing back the Merovingian, all right? And he shows up halfway through this movie, has nothing to do for a scene, speaks in tongues, basically, and everything he says is meta. It's just like, I want the spin-off for the franchise, for the Merovingian. I loved him. And he was like, shit used to be better. We used to talk to each other. Now everybody with the tappity tappity tap. It was It was like the idea that, she's like ripping on boomer culture, like the older people that don't want anything to change, but are endlessly frustrated that things used to be better. I love. They're bringing in the Merovingian, and it's like everything that was below the surface for the entire movie, he just states. For a scene. It's like all the subtext becomes text for one scene.
It was a little bit of a Shakespearean moment.
Yes.
Sort of an off-screen Greek chorus.
Yes.
Like a Shakespeare, like stopping the picture and saying, as an outside observer, what's going on in the world.
Yeah. I thought it was genuinely brilliant.
It was good.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, and we didn't bring up. Sorry, my favorite callback to the first one was when Keanu said, "I still know kung fu," because he said, "I know kung fu in the first one. Now I still do." That made me laugh out loud.
Yeah. My MVP was either going to be Jessica Henwick, because I really like her, or Carrie-Anne Moss, because she still kicks ass. She's so cool. She doesn't say much. And I think. At the end of the movie, I was leaning Henwick for most of the movie, but by the end, I was like, you know what? Carrie-Anne Moss is just really cool, and I love that she's still like an action star, and she's like in her 50s, and I just love that she's still kicking ass, and I don't know, so she's gonna, I think she's gonna, 54. Wow. Yeah, so she's going to
You're
be
going to
my
see more and more of this because every actor who had a hit many years ago, we're going to reboot it and we're going to put
Well,
him.
that's fine, and I love her as Jerry Hogarth in the Netflix MCU. I think she's great, and she's just doing really good. I like her a lot.
No one flies the flag of the Netflix MCU like Henry Papali.
Very true. It's very true. I'm kind of feel very alone sometimes because I only got 3 shows to really do it with. But
5, Henry. What? You're not talking about the Defenders?
I would say 4 then. No, I count Daredevil, Jessica Jones, The Defenders, and Punisher. I don't.
Oh, right, Punisher. There's what, Luke Cage doesn't do it for you?
First season was all right.
Yeah, first season was good. I didn't watch the second, but
I didn't either. But yeah. Anyway, she's my MVP, Carrie Moss. My LVP is Jada Pinkett Smith.
okay, that's fair. And what do you give the movie out of 5?
3.
Henry, I'm giving this baby a 4.
I thought you'd go 5.
No, let's not go
Movies of the
crazy.
year.
Let's not go crazy.
Okay, all right. Yes, all right. No, I'm giving it a 3. I'm giving it what I gave the first one. And I honestly think if I was to do, like we talk about this sometimes, if we were to watch these again if we'd skip, I'd skip right over the second.
Nah, I'd watch them all.
I wouldn't. I don't think I need to. If I could
I wouldn't need to.
I'd watch the first movie, read what happens in the second and third, so I'd have a little catch up, and then just watch the fourth one. I'm good. These are the 2 good Matrix movies. I think it goes 1, 4.
I don't even think you need to watch 2 and 3. I think if you wanted to, like if you had like a new girlfriend or something, and she was like, "I'm into the Matrix, but I've never seen them," you could. That's how women talk, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like my impression.
Yeah. So I think like you could just show them the first one and this one. I think you get away with that. I think they'd be able to follow this one, no problem.
Yeah, I agree. So it's getting 3 for me. What do you rank them in order then?
This is the best. This is the best Matrix movie. Then the first one, then Reloaded, then Revolutions.
So you go 4, 1, 2, 3. I go 1, 4, 2, 3. Yeah.
Wait, what? 4, 1, 2, 3.
You go 4, 1, 2, 3.
You still think one's better?
I need time to let this one settle in a little bit. You know what I mean? So for now, I'm going to say 1, 4, 2, 3.
I was like halfway through this movie and I was already like, this is my Matrix movie. This is the Matrix movie I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Maybe other people aren't, and then I went online and I saw like a lot of people fucking hated this. And I'm like, you know what? This is a smart test, this movie.
Yeah, it kind of is, to be honest.
Yeah.
I hate to say that. It kind of is. And if you really hated it, then I don't know if you...
I don't have a lot of faith in your ability to discern concepts.
That's actually well put. Discern concepts. That there's because it's still got everything you should want from a Matrix movie, and if it
you know what? Jason Anthony Harris gave us 1.5 stars. Maybe we need to have Jason on in an upcoming episode to discuss this.
I'm actually surprised he watched this.
Me too. Maybe his lady wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, it's just. I think I was also just very pleasantly surprised. I really didn't think.
Oh, he's walking it back. Henry's walking it back a little bit.
No, I'm not. I was literally about to say that before you said anything. That was my sentence. I was mid-sentence. I was about to say I was also what contributed to it. I was kind of dreading it, kind of thinking it'd be a slog, kind of thinking I'd be in for Reloaded Revolutions squared, and I wasn't at all. Yeah. It was much quieter. It was much more funnier, more muted.
More character based.
Yeah, and I liked Groff and Harris and these other people.
Yeah, more consistent cast.
Yes. And I also wanted to say really quickly, I liked when they introduced the crew of the ship. They didn't spend all this time giving them quirky personalities like they did in the first movie, which kind of bothered me about the first movie.
I know. Tank. And Digger, whatever. Who cares?
Just get through it.
All right, that guy's a fan of Neo. She's the pilot. Thanks. I'm good.
And they fly through it just like that.
Yeah. So, the Nebuchadnezzar. Do you remember that?
Of course I remember. All the biblical Babylon shit. Yeah.
All right, you want to talk about Mortal Kombat?